You've calculated your CRS score, received your invitation to apply, and then you get the email refused. The reason? A tiny miscalculation in your work experience. This is the silent killer of express entry applications. It is the single most complex part of your profile where a simple error could lead to refusal or even a 5-year ban from Canada for misrepresentation. The game has changed. IRCC now uses a sophisticated verification engine scrutinizing every detail of your professional past. In this video, I'll give you the definitive framework to make your work experience claims bulletproof. We'll cover everything from the critical differences between Canadian and foreign experience to the exact math IRCC uses, how to create perfect reference letters, and a final pre-submission audit to protect your application. By the end, you'll have everything you need to document your professional past with total confidence. Let's begin. Hi, if you're new to my channel, I'm Bella. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. My job is to help aspiring immigrants like you develop a personalized strategy that makes your journey to Canada as simple and stress-free as possible. That's the work I do with my clients every day, and it's the same guidance I'll be sharing with you right here. First, you must understand that in the eyes of express entry, not all work experience is created equal. There is a fundamental distinction between Canadian and foreign experience that profoundly impacts your eligibility and your CRS score. The number one rule for Canadian experience is absolute. You must have been physically present in Canada while performing the work for a Canadian employer. This is a huge pitfall for remote workers. Let's break down the tricky scenarios. If you're in Canada on a work permit but working remotely for a US company, that is foreign experience. If you're working from a Canadian company but you're doing that work from outside of Canada, that is also foreign experience. And the difference in points is staggering. A single year of Canadian experience can give you up to 40 CRS points. By contrast, foreign work experience on its own gives you 0 points. It only adds value through skill transferability factors, meaning it gives you points when combined with strong language scores or Canadian experience. Now, for an advanced scenario, what if you're in Canada working a full-time Canadian job and a second full-time remote job for a foreign company? You can claim points for both, but you cannot double dip on time. 1 calendar year of work equals 1 year of experience, period. The strategy is to claim the Canadian job for your high-value Canadian experience points and the foreign job for skill transferability points. But this requires meticulous, separate documentation for both roles. If you're already feeling unsure about how your remote job or mixed work history fits into this is a critical moment. A mistake here can be the difference between getting an ITA and never getting one. So if you want to be certain, feel free to book a one-on-one consultation with our team using the link in the description below. Okay, so now that you know the value of your experience, let's define what IRCC even considers skilled. Is not about how important you feel your job was. It's about where it fits in their system. Canada used the National Occupational Classification or NOC system. For express entry, your work only counts if it's in a tier category of 0, 1, 2, or 3. There are 3 main programs under express entry, and they each have different rules. First, Federal Skilled Worker Program. You need at least 1 year of continuous work in a single skilled job within the last 10 years. Second, Canadian Experience Class. This requires 1 year of skilled work in Canada within the last 3 years, and it can be from multiple jobs. It doesn't have to be continuous either. And last but not least, Federal Skilled Trades Program. This is for tradespeople. You need at least 2 years of full-time experience in an eligible trade within the last 5 years. You also need either a valid job offer or a Canadian Certificate of Qualification in your trade. But here's the most important part for all programs. Your job title is almost irrelevant. IRCC cares about your duties. To claim a specific NOC code, you must prove that you performed the actions in the lead statement and most of the duties listed in the official government description. If your title was project manager, but your reference letter describes duties that sound more like a project coordinator, they will assess you as a coordinator. This is a massive pitfall that can invalidate your entire claim. Finally, remember 2 golden rules. All work must have been paid, no volunteer work or unpaid internships, and it must be within the specified look back period. 10 years for FSW, 3 years for CEC, and 5 years for FST. Now, for the math, this is where so many brilliant people make simple, devastating errors. 1 year of full-time work experience equals 1560 hours. For the Federal Skilled Trades Program, you need 2 years, which is 3120 hours. You can get this by working 30 hours a week or the equivalent in part-time work. But here's the rule that silently kills thousands of applications. IRCC will only count a maximum of 30 hours per week. Let me repeat that. Any work you do over 30 hours a week is ignored. If you work 50 hours a week, you are still only accumulating experience at a rate of 30 hours per week. It will still take you a full 12 months to get your 1 year of credit. Let's talk about the 2 trickiest areas: work you did as a student and work you did for yourself. The rules here are completely different depending on the program you are applying for. For the Canadian Experience Class, or CEC, and the Federal Skilled Trades Program, the rules are strict. Work you did in Canada while you were a full-time student does not count at all. Self-employed work in Canada also does not count for the CEC. However, for Federal Skilled Worker Program is the opposite. Paid work you did while a student can count. Self-employed work can also count. If you are claiming self-employment for FSW or FST, the burden of proof is much higher. Hi, if you've got any value from this video so far, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. It will really help push my content to more people in your situation. And feel free to leave a comments or questions down below. You need a constellation of evidence to prove your business was legitimate, including business registration documents, financial statements like invoices and tax returns, and reference letters from clients on their official letterhead. As you can see, claiming this type of experience is like walking through a minefield. Choosing the wrong program for your specific work history will make your profile ineligible from day one. If you have any student or self-employed work experience, this is the time to get a professional strategy session. Click the link below to book a consultation and make sure you're on the right path. So you've done the math and navigated the gray zones, now you have to prove it. This all comes down to your employer reference letter. A compliant letter isn't a nice to have, it's mandatory. It must include all of the following on official company letterhead. First, your company's full contact information: address, phone number, email, and website. Your full name matching your passport. The name, title, and signature of your supervisor or the HR officer. And for every position you held, it must list your specific job title, your exact start and end dates, the number of hours you worked per week, and your annual salary plus any benefits. And most importantly, a detailed list of your main duties. If you had multiple positions at one company, like a promotion, you can use one letter, but it must clearly break down all of those details: title, dates, hours, salary, and duties for each position separately. The most common mistakes that get application refused are: first, missing information. Forgetting to state the hours or salary will get your application rejected as incomplete. 2, copy pasting knock duties. Do not just copy the duties from the government website. This is a huge red flag for officers. 3, vague duties. Managed projects is not enough. Be specific so that the officer can match your duties to the NOC code. So, what do you do if your employer refuses to provide a letter or the company has closed? You must provide a detailed letter of explanation telling IRCC why you couldn't get a standard letter. Then you must support it with a package of alternative proof, including as many of these as possible: your original employment contract, pay stubs, official tax documents, bank statements showing salary deposits, and a sworn affidavit from a former supervisor or colleague. This is the part that most applicants never consider. IRCC doesn't just trust your documents, they investigate, and they have access to your entire immigration history with Canada. They will cross-reference the work experience on your PR application with every previous application you've ever submitted for study permits, work permits, even visitor visas. And this leads to a dangerous red flag called sudden experience. If you add a job to your PR profile that you omitted from a previous visa application, it looks like you invented experience to meet the points cutoff. This inconsistency is a primary trigger for a refusal, or even worse, an accusation of misrepresentation. Misrepresentation is a worst case scenario. It's not just a refusal, it's a 5-year ban from entering Canada. This is why 100% accuracy and consistency are non-negotiable. Finally, how do you protect yourself? By conducting a definitive audit before you ever hit submit. This is your final line of defense against common errors. First, run through the definitive work experience audit checklist. Program eligibility. Have you confirmed your experience aligns perfectly with your target program? For FSW, is it 1 year continuous in a single job? For CEC, is it Canadian experience with student and self-employed work correctly excluded? For FST, is it 2 years in an eligible trade with a job offer or certificate? NOC selection. Are your NOC codes based on a detailed comparison of your actual duties with the official descriptions, not just your job title? Hour calculation. Have you calculated your hours strictly adhering to the 30-hour per week cap? Have you met the 1560-hour threshold for 1 year or 3120 for FST? Tricky scenarios. Have you correctly classified remote work for a foreign company as foreign experience? If claiming simultaneous jobs, have you avoided double counting time and prepared separate documentation? Historical consistency. Have you reviewed all your previous Canadian visa applications to ensure that your work history is 100% consistent? Reference letter compliance. Does every single letter meet all mandatory IRCC requirements? If you had multiple roles at one company, are they broken down properly? Documentation readiness. Do you have primary proof, that is reference letters, secondary proof, that includes pay stubs, tax documents, and if needed, a letter of explanation with alternative documents ready to go? Self-employment proof. If claiming self-employment, have you assembled your evidence including business registration, tax filings, and client contracts? Next, take these actionable items for a fortified application. First, create a master timeline. Before filling out any forms, build a detailed spreadsheet of your work history for the last 10 years. Include exact dates, employer, title, weekly hours, salary, and duties. This is your single source of truth. Second, request ATIP notes. If you have a prior Canadian immigration history, submit an access to information on privacy or ATIP request to get a copy of your file. This shows you exactly what IRCC has on record, so you can ensure perfect consistency. 3. Pre-vet your reference letters. Don't just ask for a reference letter. Provide your employer with a clear template or checklist of the required information. Review the letter meticulously before you accept it. 4. Organize your approved digitally. Create a dedicated digital folder for each job. Scan high-quality copies of the reference letter, contract, pay stubs, and tax documents. Name the files clearly. This ensures you're prepared long before an ITA arrives. Getting your work experience right isn't just about claiming points. It's about proving your entire professional history to an incredibly high standard. The express entry system rewards diligence and brutally penalizes mistakes, even honest ones. Your Canadian dream is too important to risk on a calculation error or documentation oversight. The safer strategic choice is often to underclaim points rather than claim experience you can't perfectly prove. A lower but fully provable score is always better than a higher score that risks refusal and a 5-year ban that ends your Canadian dream entirely. The ultimate goal is to submit an application that is not just eligible but irrefutable. If anything in this video felt overwhelming, or if your case has any complexity at all, multiple jobs, self-employment, or a past immigration history, don't leave it to chance. Our team specializes in building irrefutable applications from the ground up. Click the link in the description to book your consultation today. Let's make sure your hard work pays off. If you've made it this far to the video, thank you so much for your support. And if you get any value from this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe buttons, because it will really help push my content to more people in your situation. And if you feel like this video will be helpful for somebody else, by all means share it. And if you have any comments or experience you would like to share, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video.